get the recording started here and clear my throat. All right. Hello, everyone. This is episode 3 of the Black Minds Matter podcast, where we discuss certain topics and most and all, if not all topics regarding Black lives and the comeuppance of Black lives. I am joining me today. I have Sir Daniel Rodriguez and Mr. Pat Robinson Jr. Hello, you two. How y'all doing? They're muted. So
hey, what's good with you, Ryan?
All right.
yeah, good. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day in these COVID infested streets out here.
I'm staying out of the streets, man. I'm
Man, you ain't never lied. But you know what sucks is I'm an essential worker, so I don't get that luxury. That shit is trash. So anyway, continuing on from our previous episode, which you can watch only on Started From the Bottom TV on YouTube and Channel RM on Facebook. But shameless plugs aside, we discussed generational wealth, and me and Sir Daniel had a very long-winded but necessary conversation, very informative in regards to this. So, seeing as we got Pat here, I know Pat, you are in charge of a I believe it is a investment like information type of group. Could you shed some light on that a little bit?
I wouldn't really say I'm in charge of it, but I have just a group I was trying to get together or working on getting interested in different types of investments, kind of like a knowledge exchange type of thing, more so than anything.
Right. And so you joined in on that, and as it what successes have you gotten so far with it?
Big time, I've gotten kind of, so from the group itself, a lot of information even already has been passed back and forth, just about different forms of investing, whether it's in the stock market or whether it's through home ownership or some type of rental properties, things like that. But then even more so, we get people in there who are giving us more of that, I guess, inside knowledge of it all. You know what I mean? Where on a surface level, I think just about everybody knows what investing is, but there's certain things you learn or you understand as you've been doing it longer, as you've been through, more of the ups and downs of it, tips, things like that. So, but for everybody I've talked to about it so far, definitely gotten the entry information they need to really get started. From there, I've actually got a couple people who we regularly kind of talk weekly and just talk about what type of, like almost an investment club, where we actually talk about, hey, what are you seeing in the market? What are you seeing with these type of trades? Personally, I've gotten into options trading and got a couple of people who have joined me in that. So, we're kind of in a learning process, so like ups and downs are going to be a part of it, but the knowledge itself is where I think the value comes in the most.
Because knowledge is power, everyone. No, that's actually amazing. See, I would like to learn how to invest, because I don't know where, and I spend everything. I'm just be real with you. I spend. If I got it, if I want it, I'm finna get it. That's just how I am. But I'm sure for everybody else that's interested, please be sure to for anyone that watches this, please just be sure to reach out to us. Reach out to Mr. Robinson over here, Mr. Rodriguez, and they'll set you on your way, because that's pretty much all this podcast is about. We want to get the word out there for the people that are willing to drink from this fountain of knowledge that we've started here. So with that being said, Sir Daniel, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I was actually pulling up the hey Pat, just so people know, it's Conscious Investment Group is what it's called, right?
That is correct, and anybody who wants to join is welcome.
That's right. This is not Wakanda, and even then, Wakanda opened its gates to everybody. um,
Well, I got a Wakanda group, but it's not, it's not about investments and whatnot.
oh no! Hey, sign me up for that too. Shit. No. So, Pat, I don't know if you watched some of the last podcasts that I posted. I doubt it, but just to give a small synopsis, me and Daniel opened up a lot of like windows for for topics of discussion in this instance. Uh, the one thing that we talked about in regards to generational wealth is the fact that it's something that needs to be programmed in your mind. How, you know, our parents growing up, our parents busted their asses to make sure that we had whatever we breathed on. You know what I'm saying? And they instilled in us you gotta hump if you want it. You know what I'm saying? But as time went on, it doesn't have to be like that, especially now. Doesn't have to be this way. Do I have that right, Daniel? Am I in the ballpark for that?
Yeah, no, it kind of when we were talking about it goes back to programming, right?
Yeah.
We talk about how we're all responsible for our actions now because we're adults, but if we want to make some change, being able to not only change our own individual programming, but also, I can't speak for it directly because I'm not, a parent in that manner, but I do mentor younger individuals and trying to change the programming and I'm pretty sure Pat can speak to this part as well because I know me knowing Pat on a personal and professional level that I know in his household he's probably speaking these positive things when it comes to positive programming, when it comes to money, right? I know growing up, we were talking about, going to the store and our parents saying, we can't afford that, or no, we think money grows on trees. And even well, right, to say, you didn't earn this money, so don't try to spend my money. But
right.
It was a negative programming for us growing up because money may not grow from trees, but then that taught us a scarcity mindset, and a scarcity mindset is a poor mindset. And so when you're talking about money, I'm not gonna just pay it for you. How can you afford it? What can you do? What chores can you do to be able to make that want of yours come to fruition?
And speaking of programming, now Pat, now I'm gonna put you on the spotlight again. I hear your son was over there saying he wanted to learn how to invest, which it touched my heart a little bit to hear that. Can you shed some light on that real quick? Because inquiring minds want to know, how does a X amount of years old child just come up and be like, Dad, I want to learn how to invest? How does that come to fruition?
So yeah, that's one of my most proud moments as a dad was when my boy came to me and said, "Hey, Dad, I want to learn about investing." You know what I mean? And that came about just because in my household, um, we live in a household where I'm trying to set up a money-minded house, and like you guys kind of touched on earlier, when you're talking about wealth, when you're talking about money, number one, it's a mindset, right?
Right.
I mean, that is the number one thing I think people get wrong about money is that if I give you $1 million a day and you don't have the right mindset, you'll be broker than you were tomorrow.
Right.
But if you have the right mindset, I give you $1 million, you're turning into 10, 15, 20. And I think even, the Bible, we even tell you that's the case with the talents that are given, depending on what you do with those talents, God's going to give you more, right? So, when you really break it down, that's what investing is all about is a mindset. But so with my son, I digress. I go back. My son came to me. He's like, Dad, I want to learn about investing. And the reason why is because me and my father talk about investing all the time. And we're talking, like, for instance, my father coached me into getting my first house. And when I got my first house, I flipped it. And he kind of guided me on some of that, as well as my wife and my father-in-law and mother-in-law and other people. But everybody kind of poured into us on what we should do, and we actually ended up turning our first house into a flip and made a killing off of it. So, you know, that right there got me saying, whoa, this is a thing. You know what I mean? I've seen it happen. I've done it. So
Right.
my son, he comes to me and he's like, look, Dad, I want to learn how to invest, right? So I'm like, all right, well, tell you what, you need a form of income. If you want to invest, you need a way to get money first. Well, he's like, I can cut grass. You know, I can cut neighbors' grass. And so he starts cutting neighbors' grass. And I was like, well, you know what? Let me teach him more than just investing with this. Let me teach him about taxation. Let me teach him about when you use somebody else's equipment to make money, you owe them a certain portion of that money and things of that nature. So what I told him was, I'll tell you what, it's a tax for using my equipment, number one. And then you also got to keep it fueled. And then also, because you live in my house, you know, there's a little tax, right? So out of every 20 he makes, he gives me like $5.
Right.
And what I do with that $5 is I take it and put into one of the Chase. I have a little Chase investment account where I don't have to really touch. I just put the money in. It kind of does its own thing. And I'm sure
Right.
Dan could probably break down the internals of that because I don't even understand it personally. But you know, I take that $5 every week or whatever it is, and now he's up to 3 yards, so he's getting like he's putting like 15 in a week, and we put that in there, and we just watch it grow. And I teach him about how when you put your money into certain places, if it's a smart investment, you'll watch your money grow. Whereas if you put your money in other places, you'll actually lose money. And so I
Right.
teach him about the difference between, you know, putting it into something like a house where you're going to watch that money grow more than likely, versus putting it into your regular old cars, which typically you lose money in those. So that's just kind of where I'm at now. And I figure by the time he gets to 18, 19, he'll be ahead of where I was at that age.
Shoot, by 18, 19, be like, Dad, can how much money you look in the bank account? This boy done accumulated like $500,000. You be like, boy, what? Boy, you going
Yeah,
to
at that
college
point,
with a Tesla?
yeah, you owe me some money. At that point, he owes
Right.
me money.
It sounds like Pat over there creating his retirement plan.
All right, right.
That's exactly right. I also paid for football camp. That is another investment. If he doesn't become a pro football player, he will likely be a young millionaire. So, you know, I'll get some money either way.
Just don't let him turn into Antonio Brown. Just don't let him do that. But
You know, he's
that's
still
crazy.
paid. Antonio Brown still paid. He just lost it.
That's huge right there.
That's crazy.
That's a prime example of if you're not understanding or even your programming is wrong. You may have the strongest hustle in the group and say, I know how to make money. But like how Pat said, you give a man $1 million and he doesn't know how money works or the concepts of the programming of proper handling of money, he'll lose it faster than someone who only has $50,000. Like,
right.
So it's huge.
In the other aspect, I'm sorry, Aaron.
No, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
The other aspect of it is too that money has velocity. As quick as it comes, it'll go just as quick. And if you don't know the proper way to put brakes on that money when it gets into your hands, or you don't know how to put that money in the work for you, then I mean, if you know how it is, and you've seen it when people get I remember in college when people get their refund checks, or when people get their tax money, what happens? You know, we got all these plans of this and that, but when it come quick, it go quick. So, you know, that's a thing that that's a part of having that money mindset, is to make sure that you have the proper braking mechanism for when you get money quick like that.
First of all, I just want to say I feel attacked because when my refund check came, we not gonna talk about what I didn't use it for, aside from books and getting into classes probably, and what else? Because unlike a lot of people, I didn't come up on a scholarship like that. I had to hunt for that shit too, and use some connections to get up into Purdue, you know. So I feel attacked. So thank you, Pat, for that.
Hey, Pat does a good job of checking you quick. I remember when Pat, I'm not gonna share any of your personal information, but I remember when we had a conversation. We were sitting in your was a Nissan. It was your Nissan with the top down. Man, when we were sitting in there, oh, you're on mute, brother. I don't know if you were saying something, but when we were sitting there and you were telling
that
me
was the
about
G6, bro. That
the
was the G6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the G6. And I was sitting there, I was like, man, you were telling me about, you know, what you were doing with the VA money and all the different things for being in the military and just your ideas. It made me think, because in that mindset, you know, I'll be honest with everyone who's listening, I was making about $8,000 to $9,000 on my refunds when it came to scholarship refunds, just because I did the work in high school. I got all the scholarships and I budgeted, and I was like, all right, every semester I was making $8,000 to $9,000 from refunds.
And that's bread for a college student.
And I was busting it. But the thing is, imagine I used it not smart, I would say, because in the beginning, you know, the first thing I did, I went out and bought like 8 pairs of Jordans. You know, 18-year-old getting $8,000. You know, without that programming, I'm like, man, I never had these before. I'm going to get them, right? At least the
right.
But after that conversation, we were just talking about some money. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the math. I looked up the duplex that I was renting out, because part of that $8,000 was used because I was living on my own, me and my fiance. So I looked at it and I was like, how much did the owner of this duplex that I'm paying pay this property? For both sides total, he paid about $24,000 to $36,000. Rehab, put in maybe about $15,000. So he's in about $30,000 to $40,000, right? So I did it, and I was like, okay, I went to school for 4 to 5 years, and the amount of money that I put into it, I paid for that duplex. And so when that happened, I was like, right away, I told Katie, my wife, I was like, we need to get a place. So I talked to one of my other fraternity brothers, Pedro. I was like, man, teach me. I need to know, how can I get a house with minimal down payment? And he said, this FHA loan, get it. And with our mindset, I was like, all right, what are the rules? How can I turn it into a rental property? Because you got to live in it within 1 year. I was working at a job that had me moving around. So I bought that house. Right now it's a rental property, you know, 4 or 5 years later. But it was that conversation and just like that realization. Sometimes we're not around, you know, positive talkers or people who kind of challenge you. And that's one thing I appreciate from Pat, is that Pat's very forward, and he'll challenge you and be like, man, why'd you buy that Starbucks? You could have just went, got free coffee from student union library.
See, I didn't hang around Pat like that often, because he was always with his clique of cool new friends, and I was the nerd. So I never.
Oh, dude, come on, bro.
So I was the nerd. So I didn't hang around like that. I knew, I hung around, like, had sidebar conversations with him, but I didn't know he was that forward like that shit. I should have hung around a lot more.
You know what? I was a nerd too. That's why I always try to kick it with cool people, because I was always nerdy on the inside, bro. Like, for real. I'd rather sit back and play video games. You know what I mean? Like,
you never should. No, you shouldn't. You're good, because you never should have went to the game room. Just stay.
I used to come in there sometimes, bro. We used to play some pool. You know, you know what? That's the thing. Like, I remember sitting back having some good conversations, bro. And I wasn't that forward, because at the same time, Dan, we were sitting in my G6 with the top down, and I was a college student. So, that was probably not one of my smarter investments in my life that I made, but it definitely taught me to live well below your means. That was, I was working 2 jobs and going to school in order to pay for, and I was in the military, and that's how I was able to pay for having that G6. But if I was smart, I would have invested that money, got me a car just to get me back and forth to my unit, back and forth to college. And I would have been good, bro. I would probably be better off than where I am now.
Shit, half the time you could have walked, because, like, if you lived in the dorms,
all you had on campus, yeah.
See, all you had to do was walk. You had to bust the car out. All you had to do was bust the car out for work. You could have easily got up, got you a little, put a little shower on. Then you could have just did a light little jog. You might have been funky probably later, but it'd have been worth it. You probably burned some extra calories for the military.
Right.
That's extra conditioning. That's it.
See, and that's the thing. You're right, bro.
So, I understand entirely. See, because like when I was in school, I didn't really have to worry about anything, a ride, none of that. All I had to do was worry about was books and class. That was it.
Right.
I had no job, but at the same time, because I had no job, I didn't know how money worked either. All I did
Right.
was just point this out, be like, "Hey, ma, let me get that." She'd be like, "Okay, sure, bring right there." You know what I'm saying? So it's not a. That's another thing that me and Daniel talked about was like your parents' involvement in your somewhat development as a child when it comes to money, because especially if you're an only child and you spoiled too, shit. Good luck, because when you spoiled like I was, and like you're an only child and you ain't got to share nothing, you ain't got no siblings to share with, you get everything that you breathe on, but then at the same time you ain't learning nothing.
On
You
the
kind of
reverse side, though, it comes with equal balance, though, because I was the oldest of 3, 4, right? And I was
right,
deprived of those things of it, and I had to sacrifice. So when I got that
right.
$8,000, $9,000, I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna get the best mechanical pencils. I'm gonna get the best
Yes.
pens. I'm gonna get the best materials.
Yes.
I'm gonna live my own. I'm gonna get whatever I want. Oh, I can buy alcohol now. Oh, I can get the top shelf. Okay, cool, bet.
Right. Right.
You get the top
And,
shelf.
and I was the oldest as well, oldest of 3, and and anybody who, if my parents ever do see this, I love y'all, but I was by no means was I spoiled. Matter of fact, I got cut off at 18 because I had
Damn.
my son, my 10-year-old. Um, my dad, and I love him for it because it actually helped me develop into a better man. But at 18, my
Right.
dad told me, "Son, you're gonna have to figure out how to pay for your insurance. And you're gonna have to figure out how to pay for your um, phone bill. You're gonna have to figure out how to pay for your insurance for your son," which is part of why I joined the military. And he told me, he said, "Because I'm cutting you off. If you out here making babies, you a man. I'm not gonna pay for you and some baby." And and you know what? But look, in the same breath, he gave me another vehicle. Right? He gave
Right.
me probably a $10,000 car that was very reliable. Yes. So I mean, did he push me to? But he said, because I needed a more reliable vehicle at that moment. He said, if
Right.
I'm gonna kick you out on your own, you're gonna be on your own. I'm gonna give you the tools that you need to do that. And for me as a parent, that's kind of what I model myself off of. Is sometimes tough love is the best love, right? And I think what my
Yeah.
parents did there was amazing. I respect it because it made me get out and grind. It made me hustle. It gave me a new mindset. Even though I had some growing still left to do, it helped accelerate that.
Right.
But at the same boat, they made sure that they weren't just throwing me to the wolves without giving me a sword, right? They
Right.
weren't just sending me out in the world and not giving me the tools that I needed to navigate it. So,
Right.
when I was a kid, my dad used to he had a car detailing business. He used to take me with him on that business, and he'd pay me like $80 a pop because we would people were paying $500 to detail them cars, like, and it'd be rich people, you know what I mean? Like people driving Mercedes and
Oh, that's a
Range
payment or
Rovers,
something.
and we'll go and we'll detail them out, and we'll show up in our sweatpants with our rags on us, and we'll get it done, and then I'll be down there shining rims, cleaning underbodies, all that stuff, and he would say, "Here, son, here's $80, you
Manifesting.
worked it." Yeah, so it was I appreciated it.
I wish somebody would pay me 80 goddamn dollars to detail a car. What the see? Nah,
Bro, we
man.
we do it'd be a 5-hour gig, bro. And
Hey,
$80 ain't bad for 5 hours, especially when younger, but
Pretty
shit is
young,
better.
heck
man, it was
It's
yeah.
better than 14.
yeah.
See, you know, one thing I do regret though too is like hearing that story is that I taught myself how to cut hair out of necessity, right? My
I
dad cut me
remember.
off at 17. Yeah, he
I
said,
remember.
"You got a first job? All right, I ain't paying no more for your haircuts. You going out every
Right.
weekend? You're gonna do it yourself." It took me
Yep.
2 weeks to realize I need to learn how to cut hair because haircuts were expensive, and I was only making $750 at the YMCA. So I was like, all right, I need to make something extra. But in college, like I was giving free haircuts or discounted haircuts to my friends, right? And I love my fraternity brothers and everything else, but You know, they got really good haircuts for a cheap price. You know, we'd be there for an hour or 2 hours. But I wish I would have monetized on it, like these skills. Like, I knew how to hustle, but I didn't really know how to implement. Right?
You were too nice.
Yeah, I was too nice. Yeah, not knowing myself. Like, I was a people person. You know, I love being around people. Like, you put me in a group of people, and I could, you know, not sleep. Like, you put me in a group of people, and I get energized. You put me by myself too long, I'm gonna be like, man, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep all day. But, you know, going to the whole fact of like programming, you know, I know we could contribute a lot of our strengths, right, or weaknesses to how we were taught, but we just get to a certain age where we need to start taking responsibility for our own actions and learning our own tendencies, right?
Right.
Self development. There's it's a personality assessment. E.T. Eric Thomas. I don't know, you guys are familiar with Eric Thomas, right? The hip hop preacher.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's like he's the one. If you want to succeed more than you want to breathe, then you'll be successful.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So he does a revised disc assessment, and he's all about learning what your strengths are, but also what your weaknesses are, how you communicate, and how you want people to communicate with you. Because in part of being successful, like, we can have the tools, like Pat, like you said, like, you were given the tools by your dad, right? But even if you're given the tools, if you didn't have the dedication, or you didn't have the grit or the understanding to actually apply those resources, those tools, who's to say that you're going to be as successful? Like, even if you were given, you know, $10,000 car, a reliable car, what if you didn't have the responsibilities to say, hey, you know what, I'm not going to drink and drive, right? I got this fast car that's reliable, and now I'm going to crash it or whatever it may be.
Right.
You know?
I did crash it, by the way.
Damn it, Pat, you weren't supposed to say it. You weren't.
But it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. I ended up getting a new one. I took the money and bought an even more expensive car, which was not smart either. So
I remember that, actually.
You remember that? Yeah, you remember
I remember.
bro. That's how I got that G6 we were sitting in with the top down.
Oh, man. Yeah. I remember that. Man, I should use a different example. But
yeah, but it's all, but you know, you're telling the truth, though. You're telling the truth.
But like, I don't know. So okay, with that being said, we talked about tools. So would you also say in the same breath that using, since me and you, Daniel, said that money is a very valuable tool, would you say that being put out in the world with the tools of, you know, the tools of the trade, would you say that about money as well? Would you go ahead and say that with, you know what I'm saying?
I would say so. I would say so. Like, knowing the tools, like the positive tools, is good. Like, that's obviously, you know, like Pat said, a sword, right? You look at the money as a sword. It's a positive tool, but you also have to have that defense tool, knowing what those are. And what I mean by that is knowing your shortcomings, right? For me, I'm a very emotional, impulsive spender. So I'm an Amazon Primer.
Be gone, Satan!
I'm an Amazon Primer through and through. But I'm an impulse buyer, and that's what I was saying. Like Pat was saying earlier, and you gotta have those defenses, and it's knowing yourself. It's knowing what those shortcomings are. You know, I did this for like my birthday. Well, today's my birthday, but for my birthday weekend.
Happy birthday!
Appreciate you guys. Dog. Thank you. But the thing with ET, the conference was about finance, and he was talking about knowing where your faults are, because, you know, knowing that I'm an impulse buyer, spender, knowing that I'm right. I have my notes over here. I was going to share with you. Oh, I procrastinate on making those prominent, like, those decisions that I think I know, right? So, like, for example, during this pandemic, I researched like 5 different companies that I wanted to invest in stocks, right? And then Pat came along.
Oh no.
Hey, you there, Dan?
The lag. It's happening.
Oh no.
Oh no.
The red ring of death he just got.
Listening to lose.
Oh
You
snap.
back, bro?
You lagged out.
Oh, did I? Oh, okay,
Yeah.
hold on.
All
You
I
got
seen
red
was
ring,
your man
fam.
skipping across the battlefield, bro. With you,
My
I'm like,
man,
what is he doing, baby?
he was
What is
buffering.
he doing?
Oh, no. What's the last thing you heard?
You
Oh,
mentioned
man,
my name, and then it was like they were like, no more talking about Pat. You're done. You kicked me out.
And another thing,
Keep
Pat.
that man's name out your mouth.
Right.
The FBI is on to us, y'all.
Oh man, I was on a
Yeah,
roll
yeah.
too. Dang. I don't even know where I left off. What was the concept?
It
I
was
don't know
them
where
all
when I put your
along.
name in there.
You were See, I don't know. I just heard my name and I got excited.
Well, we.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you were
So-
talking about me making that group. You were investing in the stock market, researching what
Yeah.
companies you want to invest in, and then I came up with that group.
Yeah.
Right. So procrastinating on making that next jump in things that have high risk, right? To me, I think, the stock market, and I think of high risk, right? You're going to lose, you're going to win. And I know that. I know over long periods of time, you're going to win. But the goal and the mindset that I'm at right now is that I know I'm going to make the money, but I'm trying to find the ways where I could win long term and not lose. And those are the markets that I'm really trying to build those muscles, because I don't have the foundation. My parents didn't finish college, or my dad didn't even finish high school. So all I know is bankruptcy, bad debt, and working hard, right? And always working. Like my dad's 53, 54, I think right now.
You better not let him see that video.
Yeah, right.
Don't say my damn name, boy.
Your dad is cool people though. Your dad's super cool people. He just old.
Oh yeah, no. No, he is definitely cool.
Beat
Like,
you.
he's definitely like all the positive sides of me. I contribute to my dad for sure, because he instilled the grind and the hustle and the resilience of what I am. Because he's had what's the word I'm looking for? He had to withstand or go through so much that I saw that and I was like, okay, I have no excuse. And the little stuff that I'm going through, that stress is nothing else.
Right.
This man has been through a storm. And
He had the perseverance.
Perseverance, that's the word.
Yep.
He's 54, 54, and he has to get a double knee surgery. That's how hard this man worked and beat his body up. Like, and to this day, I'm like, man, all right. Now it's like, how can I learn from the shortcomings? How can because I don't want to be able to set up a step above that, right? Take what he's given me. What are my shortcomings? Because I have not been taught. And how can I better myself? So like going back to what I was saying before, was I procrastinate on things that have risk, right? So I think about it too long. So combined with I spend on emotion. So if you get me in a bad day, man, I might buy all the bad food I need and then go a shopping spree on Amazon Prime.
Right.
So like understanding those shortcomings and making those decisions, like that's the defense, the shield. So you got to have the sword when it comes to how to spend money and how to everything else, but able to defend internally and externally with that programming and being able to grow from there. I think that's really crucial.
So I'm sensing a plug coming up. If y'all and I'm gonna just go ahead and say this. I actually want to piggyback off what you said, but before I do, Dan actually helped me with some of that defensive planning. He hooked me up with my children with some life insurance, which is something that I definitely am glad I have and definitely needed. And so I know that you do financial planning. I know that which is to me, a lot of what you were telling me about that you do, and within that is all about, people don't realize that, again, we go back to that mindset. Money is a mindset. Just because you got a bunch of money to spend, it's like you go back to playing sports or you go back to playing any video game, there's a strategy to it. And as both of us know, from video games or from sports, it's never a situation where you just go in, balls to the wall blazing, guns in.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
Well,
I'll let you go on.
So okay, let me get away from video games, because at the end of the day with video games, there's a reset button, or there's always, I got another life, or you know what I mean, it's a game, I keep coming back to it. When you're talking sports, okay, so I'm gonna take it to sports now. You have one game, right? And at the end of that game, that's the outcome.
Right.
But then what can you do? You can go watch the film on that game, and you can learn from your mistakes that you made in the game so you don't make them again next time.
Right.
And Dan, I know that you assist people with that on helping them develop against their shortcomings. One thing that I did and personally was I would have an issue with spending more than what I made at one point in time. And so what I used to do is I would actually go back about a year, and it's almost like almost like I'm about to beat myself, because I would go back a year and look at my statements, and I would actually highlight, man, I shouldn't have spent that, I shouldn't have spent that, I shouldn't have spent that. And it actually made me into a better spender over time, because when I would get into a situation where, man, I really ain't got the money to spend on this right now, but I'm gonna do it because I kind of got it because I got a credit card, or hey, I got this money right here that I'm gonna use. It made me say no. I remember how many times, and I added up how much money I wasted on dumb stuff, or how much money I wasted on stuff I didn't need. And by doing that, it made me realize, okay, you know what? I need to spend smarter. So I still have my moments where I do this Amazon binge, especially in the quarantine. Or I have my moments. I'm a gun guy. So, military did that to me. So I have, if I showed you my safe, I probably got, I ain't gonna say how much money worth of guns and ammo I have just for potential of the FBI coming after me. But
so if there's ever a zombie apocalypse, go to Pat's house. Just FYI.
Don't come to my house. Because you can't have them. Now I'm just playing. Now come to my house. If it's an apocalypse, come holler at me. But I would look at how much I was spending on guns and ammo and this and that, and I would say, man, I didn't need that, or I could have waited on that. And, those kind of little strategies are you basically watching film and looking and saying, man, I went right where I should have went left. Or, hey, when I see this happen again, hey, I'm going to know next time I need to hit a spin move here. Or, you know what I mean? Or if I missed a block, hey, that missed block is what contributed to, because I would be late on bills sometimes because I spent on something I didn't need.
Right.
So when you see those type of things, you say, man, that was a missed block right there. If that block wouldn't have been missed, that play would have been a touchdown. I would have had, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of the mindset you have to approach money with. It's all about strategy.
Right. It's all in the mind. Yeah, it's all in the mind.
Have you guys watched The Last Dance yet?
I haven't. I'm the only black man in America that has not watched.
Actually, no, you're not alone, because I have not. I also have not watched it.
Watch it. It's now on Netflix. It was on ESPN. If you have Netflix, watch The Last Dance.
Man, if anything, I'm finna bootleg. If anything, I'm finna bootleg. I mean, find it somewhere.
How you on bootleg Netflix, bro?
Man, Netflix is like FBI and Disney put together nowadays, man.
You gotta have Netflix, bro. Like, you gotta use somebody's Netflix.
I was gonna use my little brother Daryl's account, but he'd be busy, and I just, all I do is watch anime anyway, so I don't really.
Hey, they got anime coming on there now too.
Don't tempt me, damn it!
Look, he trying to get his money right, and you making him spend more.
Exactly.
Real only if you're watching documentaries, it's worth it.
I don't know. Real quick, I just want to introduce D'Angelo Coles, who's finally joined us today after being necessarily absent last session. How you doing, D'Angelo?
My bad, but what's up with y'all fellas, man? I'm mad I missed the conversation. I was en route trying to get to the crib, and I couldn't get on from my phone, so I had to get home. I missed a lot.
You kinda, if you watched the last podcast episode, you might have, you caught up. But this is just part 2 of Generational Wealth, where we just kind of unpacking some stuff and going back to, essentially reminisce on what we talked about last session. So,
if you can you kind of give me the conversation in a nutshell?
The key points. Basically, so key points. From last session and this session, we discussed how basically money is like a mindset. If you don't really know how money works, like if you give a man $1 million and he don't know how to how money works, that $1 million is going to be gone. Basically, it's a generational, like in terms of generational wealth and all that. It's it's a matter of programming one's brain, because like I said, if you know how money works and you know how to have your money grow in instances like that, then you definitely know the tricks of the trade. You know the smell of the game essentially, and you from then on, then you know how to stand on your own feet and so on and so forth. That's
Right.
basically the gist of it.
So
So
And money is like it's all about training. It's like when you go to school for something. You know, when you're going through all that schooling, it's only training you on a specific way you need to think. And unfortunately, if you get bad training, you're gonna fail when it comes to hitting the workforce. But if you get good training, you know you'll succeed. And that's what money is all about. If we have bad habits in approaching how we deal with money, if we learn bad habits, we're never gonna have money. You know, I know people who make good money a year, and it's like, bro, how you always broke? You know, how you always you can't pay your bills or this and that, but you make good money, and it's nothing to say against those individuals. But if you don't understand it, then it's like having a nice car. If you don't know when to change your oil, when to get your tires changed, you know, you got to check your tires, make sure they're aired up.
The
You
last
can't go
10,000
over bumps
miles.
too hard. You know, yeah, so many miles in, you need to do spark plug. If you don't know that stuff,
mm-hmm.
I can give you a Ferrari. Your Ferrari may not run to 100,000. You know what I mean? Whereas if you know what you're doing, you can take a Chevy to 250. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about that mindset, bro. It's all about that education, that wealth mindset.
And
yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Like when it comes to especially like financial literacy and things of that nature, I'm a true believer. Like you got to start at a young age, because my pops has always tried to put that into me and my siblings, but it wasn't until we got a little older and then we recognized, like, damn, that's what he was talking about. Now we feel like we too late in the game, but yeah, we still at a good place. But if we
Right.
start even younger, like definitely like that become a curriculum in schools where they are forced to learn how to work with finances. Like by the time they get to college, like they're gonna be on top of their game. So imagine when they become adults, they really gonna be on top of the game. They can really
Right.
that at that point they can create that generational wealth. They can have a foundation because they understand it, because they was taught this as they was growing up. Like any kid, you show any kid anything, they hold on to that if they're interested, and then that's what they're going to manifest later on, whether it's good or
Right.
bad. So if you put this type of knowledge in their hands at a young age and show them how it works and show them how to get it, they're going to be all right.
Right.
9 out of 10 of them. You're still going to have one of them that's going to drop the ball, but at least majority of them will have the knowledge of how it all works. And like with credit, all that stuff, debt, they need to know all of this.
Yeah.
And you know, you have adults older than us, that all of us that's on this chat right now, older than us, that have no clue what we're talking about. They might have
Right.
heard about it and they suffering financially like a mother sucker. And it's
Right.
because nobody took the time to teach them, or they didn't intentionally want to learn it.
And you
or
hit
we're
a
too busy
perfectly
surviving.
hard point. You hit, yeah, that's another part of it, is that survival aspect. But you hit it right on the nail, where it's like, because that's the thing about, you said you had to seek this information out. Public school, private school, even typically private school even isn't going to teach you about financial literacy and wealth. You got to wait until you either get into college and that's what you're majoring in, or something along those lines, or you need to get it from your parents or some trusted adult who's been through it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't benefit the elites to give you this information, because it's one of those, if I can keep this out of your hands,
Right.
if I can keep you from, that's what I love about platforms like Robinhood. That's what I love about people like Dan who are out here. And I'm talking about you, Dan, brother Dan Rodriguez.
Appreciate that.
But you guys are out here trying to make sure that the people get an understanding of this stuff where you talk about trust funds. Man, we don't know. I ain't never know about no trust fund. You know what I mean? All right, mutual funds. I ain't know about no mutual fund. Or,
Right.
even talking about your 401ks and your different stock market. Like, to me, stop playing the stock market was a rich man's game. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so you start getting into all this information, and it's getting to people that at one point in time would have never had access to it, because again, this information isn't taught in public schools. You don't watch it on TV. This is information you either have to go research. Now that we have the internet, we have that opportunity, or you had to have somebody you knew and trusted that's going to steer you in the right direction. Because even then, if you go to the wrong person, they're doing it for their benefit.
Right.
So they're not even caring about how well you're going to
Right.
do. They're going to say, look,
Right.
hey, I can get paid off of you You giving me your money, and I don't care what you do with it after that. You know, and so like I said, you got to find the right people that's gonna put you in the right place.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And
Yeah, I definitely
to
fight that part.
yeah, to that, I believe D'Angelo, you had talked about back the first episode that we did how black folks don't have no money, and this right here, this is what can prevent us as a race to.
Can I say?
Yes, yes, Pat.
Black folk, and we have a lot of money, and I don't know if that's where you were going with this. We have black folk. We are maybe, I think we're the number one consumers in this country, and it's the proof is when you see a rich white man. What's he wearing, bro? Does he got Gucci on? Does he got Jordans on? No, he got New Balance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
With some Dickies, baby, or whatever.
Jeremy
Scott or whatever, you know. But when you look at consumers, bro, we got a lot of money. The problem is number one, we don't circulate it within our community.
Nope.
That's number one issue. Number two, we're for the most part, a lot of us aren't educated when it comes to how money works. And so our mindset, and I talked to another brother on a podcast about this recently, our mindset is if I want to look the part of being wealthy, or if I want to look wealthy, I have to do it in having stuff. But true people who are wealthy understand stuff isn't your measure of your wealth. Maybe having a nice car, you know, cool. Having a nice house, cool. But if you go grab their portfolio, that's where you'll start seeing, okay, that's where they moving their money to. You start looking at their bank accounts, that's where the money's at. And for us, many of us, we're taught shoveling out money is the balance of showing how you got it going. And hip hop does that to us. You know, professional athletes do that to us. You know, how many athletes out there talking about this? You know what I'm saying?
Antonio Brown.
You know
what?
Well, you know, like when I made that comment in the first episode, it was just simply to say that when we do get money, we don't hold on to it, and we don't understand the value of what it can be if we, like you just said, circulate it. So the minute we get, like, people was very excited about the stimulus check, and you know. When I had these conversations, yeah, I got this stimulus check. I can't wait. Like, why are you waiting on $1,200? Like, you don't know how to make $1,200 without somebody giving it to you. You don't have a hustle. You don't have no grit to you to go get $1,200. $1,200 is $12. Like, let's be real. $1,000 is nothing. But
I feel attacked.
But at the same time,
I was about to say, let me get your $1,200 then, bro.
I will give it to you if you can flip it for me. I'll give you $1,200 if you can flip it for me, because if it's gonna work in my benefit, I would give it. But if I'm gonna give it to you,
I get you 10% in a month.
Just to say I gave it to you, like, that ain't gonna do me no good or my family or the people around me. So, like, when we get this type of money, man, like, you supposed to learn how, like, that's why it's important to learn how to invest and learn how the money work, because you can lump sum the money, like you said, we putting it straight out. And we don't have nothing to show for it but material things. And like you just said, wealthy people, the material things, please, they're not worried about that at all, because they got foundations already. So they can go they want to
exactly. That's where it is, foundations.
And you would think they bums, but they not. Like, they billionaires on the low. You feel me? So,
right.
Me working in schools, like, that's one of the main things. Like, hey, if y'all gonna sell candy or sell chips and whatnot, like, don't take the money and just go spend it on something for you to eat. Take a little bit of that, go buy you some more product, bring that product back, sell it some more, save a little bit, repeat that process, and then you can treat yourself. But you already accumulated so much money off of the business aspect of it that you can splurge a little bit, but you still have money set aside for when you're ready to move forward with it. And then when they start to understand investing and all that, now you can start putting that into stocks and bonds and all type of things, and then the money will start to generate and work in your favor. But because we have not been properly taught this is
we were held out from it for a long time.
Right.
What happened?
Exactly.
You go back to, you know, stereotypes too on that part. It's like, you think of wealth and money. What are the top stereotypes of cultures you think of?
White.
Jewish people. They always got money.
Yes.
No, but wait. If I say it too long, and my wife is Jewish. She's half Jewish, half black. So my children are Jewish by her culture. So I can say
she'll come through. she'll
No,
come
no, I
through
was
with a
about to say, because I don't want nobody to
dreidel.
cancel your podcast, bro. You start saying Jewish too much, they'll cancel your podcast.
First of all, let me just
But we're not saying it in a
let me
negative
just
way,
say
though.
this.
It's not a negative way. It's not a negative way.
It
I'm
don't
saying,
matter.
like,
Buddy said
Yeah.
he got Jewish money. They canceled him because he had Jewish money.
Facts.
They run.
Facts.
Hey,
Nick Cannon, man.
no, I'm not talking about Nick Cannon. I'm talking about when LeBron sat up there and was singing. Who's that? Who said that? What's that boy name? Oh man, one of the rappers was rapping about. He said, "I got Jewish money." Maybe it was one of the Savages. I don't know, one of the young Savages or something like that. You know,
One of the Savages.
Savage money. Yeah. That was a hit on Nick Cannon. I love Nick Cannon though. He's awesome. But he said he had Jewish money. LeBron was singing along with the song, and LeBron was forced to come and apologize for that. It's like, bro, he said a good thing. Like, bro, Jewish money, that's in the black community. If you Jewish, you rich. You know what I mean? So
right.
But I digress. That's off topic.
no,
That's off topic.
But
I would just like to
going
add
to what that limiting belief is, that, you know, like, oh, that's not for me. That's not for me. We got to change that mindset going into it. And it goes right back to mindset is that, yeah, well, what is that community doing? Why do they have that stereotype? You know, they're keeping that money, like you said, in the community. When you talk about funding it, like those community heads, they actually meet together and they'll keep it in the community. All right, we're going to invest, and this business is going to be a business. That's going back to, you know, what is the true American dream? It's owning a business or owning something of your own to pass on. Because if you don't own anything, you left this except, you know, some Gucci belts and some else, you're living in a third world mindset. You know, just throwing everything out there. You know, like the pandemic. I said this in the podcast class, is that this pandemic showed that America is nothing but a third world country with a Gucci belt. It's all we were.
Yeah, I mean, look at how our healthcare almost like failed, bro. Like, we almost failed, bro. Like, man,
almost.
Well, I blame Donald Trump. I'm gonna say that.
I do too.
But honestly,
and I would just.
But hey, Trump, give me my next check.
It's supposed to be coming in 2 weeks, two to 3 weeks.
That's what I heard, man. And I may spot you a vote if you give me another check. No, I'm joking.
Hell no.
I'm joking, man. That cat ain't getting no more vote.
We're in debt already. We might as well.
It's an investment.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm a
Nah,
you know,
the last $1,200 check made 5%. So keep it coming. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah,
that check come. If that check come, I ain't vote for him. It's gonna be an entanglement. What you talking about? Entanglement. Shit. It's finna entangle in some of my bills. God dang it. That's what it's finna be. But
I know, Ryan, you're trying to change the subject or to go to the next topic, but as we're on the topic of politics somewhat, that's another part of it too, is not just teaching about money, but the interactions and overlap of money. Understanding how policies are going to affect our decisions. Like, you know, we're, as much as I disagree with a lot of things that happen with Donald Trump and everything else, but there's a reason why he made it to where he's at, is because those who are in power, who are rich, they know those decisions that he made is benefiting them. So they're like, I don't care if he is talking crap out of his, you know, mouth. He keep on making those decisions that's going to give me the cuts as a business. I'm going to keep him in office. And a lot of people don't understand that. Like, they don't understand policies. They don't understand, you know, those decisions and how it affects. They just look and see what they see on Fox News, or they just see what they see on CNN, and they're distracted by certain things. We got to learn how to read through the distraction. Yes, coronavirus is serious. Yes, coronavirus is big. But if you look at it, are you reading what the policy is going to be? Because this is election year. Are you preparing yourself for the actual vote and what's Joe Biden going to do? Like, you know, they pin us against two people, which I hate. I hate that they pin us between one or the other, right? At the end of the day. But honestly, there's so many other options, and we just see the person and we don't see the policies behind it. And so many decisions are affecting us in that way.
And when do politics become about the person and not about the policy? I mean, I remember growing up, people always, hey, what's his policies looking like? You know, but now it's all about, like with Hillary Clinton, oh, crooked Hillary, she did this. Like, we focus on the one thing she did one time. Or Donald Trump, we focus on the one thing he did.
And now look at
it's
us.
like,
Y'all
it's
finna
like,
die.
yo, what are they trying to institute? Yeah. But what are they trying to
distraction.
institute? You know?
It's a distraction. They know that if, you know, hey, we're gonna have you watch this hand over here, but then we're gonna make some decisions over here. And that's people who, you know, are in power, and those are the people who are funding the Federal Reserve, right? Like the people who are running the money, people who are controlling the money. Those are the ones. The federal
government. Don't say who it is.
I'm not gonna say it is. I'm not name dropping.
Yeah.
If you want to learn, read the books.
Gonna die.
Read the books.
Hey,
read the books.
Hey, Illuminati ain't coming after me, bro.
Look, hey, I don't who.
I ain't worried about that. I'm not even from my mouth. Just know who runs the money.
I'm not here. But to that, I want to say, like, okay, yeah, I feel like it is a bit of a bait and switch and a sleight of hand type of deal when it comes to Trump and his policies or whatever. And a lot of people look at him just like, this guy is a warmongering hate god, which is true, because we've all seen it. We've all seen the news, and he'll kill us all. And but you're right though.
Yeah.
Donald Trump is a businessman.
Exactly, and he's trying to run. That's exactly what he's trying to do.
He's doing what he know to do: run business,
run business, not run the country.
That just shows his colors or whatever. But he's a businessman. He's
right.
His grandfather was like hand in hand with Nikola Tesla. So like, money has always been in their family. It's a part of their generation. So they know about money. So when I look at Trump, I understand the money. I just don't like him as a person, but the money and the business aspect, teach me.
Yeah.
He knows the rules.
Like, if you could let me just take that out of you. I don't want nothing else. Keep the orange, keep the toupee, keep the slanted, frontal posture.
You got to read the books. Read his books and read the people that he interviews with. Like, I'm telling you, they don't hide the secrets.
I feel like there's no way he wrote a book. Because I don't know
if
he can speak English.
He didn't write shit.
The books are written
I feel like it's drawn in crayon.
No, they're bitten off of other people's books, like his wife did with that speech.
Right. I love it. You ever my husband?
Oh no.
My husband Trump, Donald Trump, Obama.
They all looking at her like
president.
Right. He's the first black president.
The minute she slip up on that wrong one, when you go to copy paste other people's homework, the minute they slip up on that wrong sentence,
the generator first to make sure it's not plagiarized.
Right. Nah, it's too late for that. They're gonna be looking at her like, now you know damn what. Get off the stage, Melania. Goodbye. But no. If I could take just that part from Donald Trump, yeah, I happily would. Seeing as I can't separate the orange forward slanted coward that he is with the business mindset of him, I think, and that goes for a lot of people. I think a lot of people just like, you know what? Nah, let's just hate him and get him out of there.
You know what though?
Which I mean,
I would kick it with Trump. Like on a real, I hand him a beer. I'll sit down. I'll kick it with him.
Hell no.
I love asking questions.
Now listen.
I'm with you. I would love to sit down with him.
I probably would end up fighting him at some point because he'll say the wrong thing about black people or Mexicans or something like that, and I'm like, all right, bro, now we got to fight. But
all right, we got to throw
well, look, I'm gonna show up with a piece of paper full of questions. I'm gonna say, look, Trump, I got 20 questions for you. Answer the questions, please, and then we can get into whatever you want to talk about. You know, because I'm sure it'll turn into like why we need a wall, why Blue Lives Matter, even though Blue Lives isn't a thing. Like, you know what I mean? I'm sure that
man,
like Blue Lives, you know what I mean?
See, on the topic of Blue Lives, because I think we can segue into that.
No, all lives matter, bro. Don't give me nothing about no blue lives. All lives matter. But you realize they never say that to Blue Lives Matter people? All jobs matter, bro. What about red lives?
The firefighters.
What about
The
firefighters, bro? And they don't even hurt nobody ever. They just put fire out,
shit.
bro. And why they matter?
They hurt the architecture, man. Those axes, they be tearing down.
Little keys that be stuck in the tree. They
Bro, I make doors.
Trees matter.
Tree lives matter. Now the hippies
I make
are a part
doors,
of
and
it.
they kick down doors. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like red lives. Either.
Right? They bust down my hard worked windows and shit.
Right? Come on, man. That's how stupid people
The kitten was stuck in the tree. You're upsetting the balance of nature by getting the kitty out on the tree. Hidden lives matter, damn it.
That's how ridiculous this is.
I definitely follow your lead, like to have to sit down with him, because like the goal for me to sit down with him is like, hey man, like what's the top investor? What's the best real estate? Or like I'm asking questions that I'm gonna make some money. I don't give a fuck how you feel as far as your if you're racist or not. Like if you know money, that's what I need to know. Because I can take.
Because I'm gonna take this back to my people.
Exactly.
Right.
Then we
facts, and then and then we gonna overthrow your ass.
But then here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you what. Classism, like racism, dies out once you start talking about classism. Because if you notice, Donald Trump will deal with a rich black person in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
If it's about money, but Donald Trump doesn't discriminate. He don't like poor white people. Just like he don't like poor black people, but he knows, and I might, this may be controversial for me to say, he knows that he can manipulate poor white people into voting for him and support him.
Oh yeah.
So he's gonna pander to him.
He said if
the bread and butter for
20 years ago, 20, 30 years ago, he said if he was to run for president, he would run as
Republican,
Democratic, or the Republican Party. Because he knew that they would vote for him. Because pretty much in so many words, he said they were stupid.
Yep, that's facts. It's videotaped, and to think that he actually, looking back now, it's just like we let that happen. Well, that and the fact that like what was it? 100,000 people voted for a fucking dead gorilla, which I will never. Anyway,
Harambe was important to us.
Ever since Harambe died, nothing's been the same.
Nothing's been the same, bro.
Oh my god!
Moment of silence for Harambe.
Oh! No way.
You done make me take off the flip ups.
You done took off the different world shades. Not serious.
Different world. Yeah, definitely though, man. I definitely feel what you're saying with that though, bro. It's important. Sometimes we gotta put our pride to the side. If we're looking for something longevity wise, like we're gonna have to bite the bullet at times. Yeah. And that's one of the issues that we have, that we don't want to bite the bullet. It's like we gotta stay strong on this, which we have to. Somebody has to be that person to go out the way to make some other things shake. While you holding it down with the pride over here, let me go over here and figure out how we can make this better.
And that's about being tactical. Yes, that's about being tactical. And because we, as a community, bro, they kill our tacticians. Let me just say that. Huey P. Newton, Martin Luther King, or they either kill them or demonize them or send them out of the country or put them in jail. I mean, our tacticians are always attacked. And the problem is that we now are being run by a mindset where if I go sit down at the table with Donald Trump, I'm a sellout. In the cancel culture type thing, no matter how much I done did for my community, no matter how much I done invested, and I'm not talking about Kanye. Kanye's weird. That brother's crazy. I'm talking about like the Nick Cannons out there. I'm talking about like the brothers, the Jay-Z's out there. The moment Jay-Z sided with the NFL at all, people were like, Jay-Z's a sellout. Like, nah, Jay-Z ain't no sellout. You know what he was back there doing? He's the reason Kaepernick got another chance. So. But as a community, we're so quick to turn on our own people who are sitting at the table for us on our behalf. And at the end of the day, we as especially minorities, we have to be willing to sit at these tables, because unless we're gonna have the backing, and I say this all the time to my friends, unless we're ready to overthrow some stuff, and I don't mean anarchy, I mean like if we're willing to take over, If we're at that point, okay, cool. Don't sit at their table. We're gonna make our own table. But until we get to that point, we need to sit at that table. Therefore, we can not only sway things for our favor at the table, but we can bring the information from the table back to our people. And we can't call that brother a sellout for doing it. We can't attack him for doing it. We have to be willing to say, now that brother out there trying to make moves for us. Now, Candace Owens type cats, get rid of them, cancel them. The Hodge twins, them cats, that's a different story.
I mean, like, okay, you're right, and I guess like that is like the whole smoke and mirrors aspect of it all, because, well, I mean, think about it. When Kanye was trying to, get the favor of Trump, what some people were saying he was doing it to, like, do something with the jail system or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he just kept spiraling. It's just like, whoa, hold on there, bro. What you doing? Then when he started saying shit like slavery was a choice and Harriet Tubman did, I'm like, whoa, sir.
Kanye's not the right guy for that.
Nah, he's not, and that we're not going to talk about how this man is.
Hey, I got a little pushback on the whole slavery was a choice. I mean, think about it. Think about all the slave rebellions that took place. The ones that they didn't teach us about that actually won. Like, they chose not to be slaves. They chose to fight back. And whether they won or lost, they chose not to be in servitude. So in my personal opinion, slavery was a choice. Now, sure, they shipped us all over here, and the slavery mentality here in America has changed the whole idea of what a slave was. There was times where back in the day, slaves will fight for their freedom. Gladiators. That's wrong.
Right.
So, people can come buy you and you can buy your freedom. So slavery was different then, but here and what we experienced, what our ancestors experienced, that was something totally different. But you had the Nat Turners, you had the Jacques Dessalines who said, we're going to fight back. Jacques Dessalines actually won. That's Hayes. But don't nobody talk about that shit. They don't talk about that. They don't teach that because they know. They definitely know if we had an idea that we can fight back and we can win, we would have been did this. But because the mentality has been taught to us that we don't have a shot, people scared to fight back. So when people say slavery was a choice, people get offended. Like, no, slavery is a choice. Anything you do in your life is a choice. So at the end of the day, you got a choice.
It's a choice.
You're gonna do it, or you're gonna be a part of it, or you not.
It's a choice, but what are the options? Because
what's the options to fight or die?
No. What was the options in slavery though? Because it was a choice, but it was either be enslaved or die. Because when you look at those revolts, you guys am I still there? Because somebody's calling me. Hold on, I'm going to call that brother right back. All right. When you look at slavery, the choice was be enslaved, do what we say, or die. Because when you look at those ones, because Harriet Tubman escaped. There were people who escaped, yes, but there was Harriet Tubman, there was Frederick Douglass, there was who was some more people that escaped that I'm trying. And my mind's drawn to blank on more. But you had those people, and the people that Harriet Tubman even freed. When people are putting death in front of you, that's not necessarily the type of choice I think Kanye was talking about. I'm 100% with you that to a certain degree, everything's a choice. But there's also, like, if I choose to do something and my other option is death, like, is it really a choice? By standpoint of, like, did I really have an option? If I want to live, I have to continue to work for this master, right? And now if I got enough people, and that's why I said, unless we ready to overthrow the table. Now, if I got enough people with me, we can overthrow. But the problem is look what Nat Turner did. He overthrew. They killed all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, because I've studied that stuff and I've looked at it, and I love what Nat Turner did. Not that he killed innocent white people, blah blah blah. I love that he killed slave masters. I love, and you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. If I was with him, I'd have been with him. Because, like he said, if anybody was not with us, we killing him.
Facts.
So he didn't give him too many choices. You either with us or we gonna kill you, right? But when you talk about slavery in America, as much as it was a choice, it wasn't a choice. Because when the choice is death, you really ain't got an option if you want to live, if you're trying to go forth. You know what I'm saying? And that's the only pushback I give to that. I think Kanye was saying it was a choice in regards to, had we just made a different decision, we wouldn't have been enslaved. Yeah, we would be dead, and a lot of us wouldn't be born that are here today because our ancestors would have died.
But
because a lot of cats chose to jump off the ship.
This is true, but within death is freedom. You know,
I mean, even if that, I mean, if you were thinking about if everyone made the choice at the same time, like, let's, if you're thinking about extremes, you're talking about extremes, let's think about extremes. Everyone made the choice at the same time. Are they going to kill every single one of the slaves? Like, would they have killed every single one of the slaves? You gotta forget, it's also a business decision.
No, they wouldn't have killed them.
A lot of these slave owners were, you remember, if not for the slaves, they were poor white people as well. Like, these owners, if they didn't have that resource of slave owner or slaves, that they could not operate their farms. In a month, they would be in debt. They would have not been able to survive. For them, it was a choice to keep on pushing that in the slaves. But if we're thinking about extremes, if all slaves were to make a decision and say, hey, F this, I'm not going to do this anymore, then is that the choice of, hey, it's still a choice. If we all say no, you're not, well, what's the outcome? Like, I can see both sides, but
I agree.
The outcome to me simply would have been like, if you per plantation, let's just say it's 5 slave masters on a plantation. You got the dad, you got the mom, you got the kids, and then you got people coming in and trading here and there. But then you got 200 slaves there. The math is
they had overseers too.
How many? How many people on the plantation that oversee the slaves?
After the I don't know if you're familiar with the Willie Lynch letters, but after the revolt of the Nat Turner, slavery was revolutionized in America, became 10 times more brutal, 10 times more harsh, because it was a pandemic in America that slaves were constantly revolting. Nat Turner was not the first nor the last. The problem was that as we kept revolting, which we were making the choice freedom over bondage, which means we'd rather die than be in bondage. And I agree with that choice. I would have fought back too. But you make the choice for freedom, the risk is death. And many a times it was death, especially when we talked about liberation, because there's a difference between escaping slavery and the liberation of African Americans. Now, if you want to say that individualized, it was a choice, sure, every slave had opportunity, but what about Kunta? Kunta ran, they cut his foot off. Okay, how he gonna get out of there, right? So individually, the choice became limited for each person, you know. But now when you talk about it as a whole, the liberation of African Americans in America, we were fighting for it, and they completely transformed the way they operated slavery. It became more brutal. Then they got overseers. These overseers were armed, and it was like our modern day prison system. That's what it looked like, where there's a boundary. If you're caught going outside the boundary, you will be shot on sight because we can't risk you escaping. And then when the slave revolts start happening, that's when they start really going hard with trying to push mindsets into the slaves. So I mean, again, yeah, you're right. It's a choice, but it's not the choice. It's not a choice in the sense of like we think, hey, do I want Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts today? You know, it's the choice.
Yes, it is.
It's a choice.
It's the same thing like with people doing the like now. You got the group. It's I want to say Affleck. It's not Affleck.
Not fucking around coalition.
They chose to say, hey, we're gonna march together. We're gonna fight together. And if there's some smoke coming, we really give you some smoke back. Because the only thing that stopped slaves from getting away was fear. Fear plays a major role in everything we see today.
Well, no, I think dogs and slave patrol was the main stopper, bro.
You said dogs and slave patrol?
Dogs and slave patrol was what stopped a lot of slaves from getting away. Because that's what I'm saying. It's not a choice when people are. It's a choice to try to escape. The act of escaping is not a choice. Because if you're caught, if I get out of that, if I escape the plantation, and many of our ancestors tried, they made the choice to escape. They sent dogs out. They sent the slave patrol. Matter of fact, it got to the point in America where they were putting out warrants. If you were a escaped slave and you didn't make it to the North, they'd kill you on sight. So for all those people who didn't make it to freedom, they made the choice and they were still killed. So they weren't really given a choice. The only way that you can execute or operate the choice is if you actually make it to the freedom. And then when you talk about, like I said, liberation as a whole, if every slave we would have been able to say, yo, we're not going to take this. We're going to come together. We're going to overthrow. Yes, that's the choice. But you and I both know from knowing people today, you can't get all of us on one page. You can't get nobody on one page, let alone a bunch of brothers.
You're right.
So unless we all going to be on the same page, that was the choice. It was the global collective choice at that point. But individually, there was people trying to escape all the time. They got caught by sheriff. They got caught by slave patrol, which is today our modern day cops. They got caught by dogs. I mean, so at the end of the day, what's the choice that they had?
But even for the ones that ran off, got caught, and they came back, and the punishment was so severe that it made other slaves say, you know what? Yeah, I'm not gonna try that because I don't want to die. Again, it goes back to fear. So, like, if you have revolutions that actually succeeded, and it's been told to you, and you know how they did it, then I don't understand how we can get to the point where it's like, nah, we you know what I'm saying, we can't do this. It's only because we lack the knowledge and the things that really took place. And when I take you back to 1804 with Haiti, like that's one of the main ones. Like, they fought the French, they fought Napoleon, and kicked all of their ass. Yeah, and they kicked all the Europeans. They kicked their ass. They left. Haiti was independent, but America could not let that be something that was known, because the slaves in America, if they would have caught wind like this is how they did it, they teamed together and they took everything they had because they didn't fear death, and they went head to head and they won. They chose.
Now, do you think freedom. You think we could have did that here in America, being 100,000? No, even then. Today or then, we're 13% of the population today. Back then, I think we were only. I don't want to throw out a figure because I don't know. I know it was less than 13, but we were only a certain percent of the population. So if that, let's say 2% of the population that has no access to weapons, no access to anything, would have decided, yo, we gonna go against America, bro, in their own land. That's the difference between what happened in Haiti. Haiti was an occupation. Haiti was an occupied territory by the French. And the Haitians that they were enslaving, the brothers and sisters that came from Africa and brought over as slaves, said, y'all gotta go. And they kicked them back to their own land because France didn't have the resources to keep sending to fight a war that was not economically beneficial. France could have wiped Haiti off the face of the earth. It wasn't beneficial to them. So if let's say we tried that here in America, even today, being 13% of the population, owning no jets, no tanks, no firepower, the most we got is a couple safes full of guns. What's going to happen? Is it a choice, or is it just the only option we have if we want to continue living? You get what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying with that.
Now, it is a choice individually. But what happens to those individuals who revolt? Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Huey P. Newton, Louis Farrakhan, demonized, killed, put in jail.
And even demonized after they were killed.
Even, many of them killed and still demonized, right?
Martin Luther King. He had a mistress.
Yeah,
the man dead. I mean, the man dead and gone, bro.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it's a choice, but when you look at the options, it's not really a choice. It's like saying, I have a choice to go jump off a building. That doesn't mean that's a choice. Yeah, it's a choice. Everything's a choice. I have a choice whether I live or die.
But it's not a good choice.
But it's not a good choice. And what it's saying is, when people say choice, we assume that they mean that you're given an option, right? So when you're talking about slavery was a choice, that's like somebody saying you had an option to be a slave or not be a slave. And that was not an option that was on the table. You had the option to be a slave or likely be killed.
To sum it up, I think like what you're saying is a choice is a choice. The choice was either be a slave or die. It wasn't an option of like, oh, you could either be a slave or you could be
a businessman.
Right. It wasn't a good.
Kanye was pushing it out like, well, we could have been doctors and lawyers instead of being slaves, but we chose to be slaves. No, we could have been dead or slaves.
Right.
So we chose to be slaves. So if that's the choice, yes, we chose slavery over death.
We chose literally life over death.
Yes, but if you're talking about the way Kanye phrased it, to me it seemed, I could be wrong, he could have meant it that way, but to me it seemed he was saying the reason we're not at the top is because we chose slavery over being doctors or lawyers or this and that. Like, and that, to me, that's not what happened.
Right.
And I could be wrong. That could be not what Kanye meant, but you know, Kanye be saying a lot of weird stuff. So
Yeah, we'll never really know what he meant. But, you know what I'm saying?
That's one of them
One
wonders.
man that knows.
Respectfully, like I definitely understand where you're coming from with that. And you know, it's important that people like us, black and brown people, that have open-minded conversations and not an argument or a debate, but just a conversation. So like that's what we lack too, you know what I'm saying? Because we all have different perspectives and different views. But like if we can tie things together, just to say, hey man, we still on the same page. Like we still know that we got work to do together. So like I appreciate this conversation.
And no, let me throw this out. I speak passionately at times. So if I was coming off as I was trying to be argumentative, that's not my intent.
No.
But
I'm in agreement, man.
Hey, brother, I'm in
agreement
with you. Yeah. But I'm in agreement with you. Because I'm the type of brother, my wife would tell you this. She always was telling me, babe, go sit down somewhere, go relax. I'm the type of brother, when it's time to flip the table.
Saddle up.
Hey, bro, y'all let me know when we ready to flip the table.
When it's time to flip the table.
Hey, man, remember you started off saying you had that safe, so we know you ready.
I'm just saying, when it's time to flip the table, let it be known I'm gonna be there with y'all flipping the table. Right? When we want to build our own table, I'm gonna be there with a hammer saying, let's hammer these nails in so we have a sturdy table.
That's facts. And
you know what I'm saying? So
right. And like I can prime example. I had a conversation with some colleagues of mine. For those of you who may or may not know, and all the viewers out there, and the people that couldn't join, looking at you, Dante, and all the others. No, to Mike Ditka, he said a statement in regards to you know. Mike Ditka said, he said, if you're gonna kneel during this national anthem, get the hell out of my country. First of all, sir, this ain't your country.
Right.
This ain't your country. Y'all took this from the Native Americans. First and foremost, let's just get that out the way. Like, let's just let a spade be a spade. You know what I'm saying? Y'all took that from the Native Americans. Then y'all decided to bring us in a boat to the stolen land. So by unnecessary what's the word? By unnecessary accomplice, we party y'all shit for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't even did nothing. You know what I'm saying? So had not it been for the fact that, you know, it's a lot of Native Americans out there that, you know, like, yeah, we understand y'all, you know, we respect y'all. It'd be that by association. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you want to sit up there and say that, come on, bro.
The irony behind that is like like when you really start to study the history and realize like, okay, they basically Europeans fought against Europeans. They came over here looking for some land because they wanted independence from Britain, but they came over here, fought for their independence, and then they created America. But the minute we try to fight for our independence, it's not important to them. So like I need the rest of our people to realize like, hey, like if you doing all this hard work to fit in with them, understand how they got here. They fought for their independence. So why the hell we're not fighting for ours just as much as they were? And even the players at that time, they was like, hey, we'll help you if we can get our freedom. They're like, no, we don't need your help. Like, what? Like, but y'all came over here fighting your own people and stole some land that wasn't yours. But now that we are here, and as you can see, everything that we got on this land is been built by us. The technology, the ideas, all this stuff flows from us. And the sad part about it is like we don't take pride in that to even want to get together to have conversations like this, just to try to put things on the table and say, okay, what's our plan? What can we do next? Because it's a lot of us that got money. It's a lot of us that are smart. It's a lot of us that's willing to fight. We have a team of people and individuals that we can make some shit shake. But I don't think the mindset is there for everybody. Like you were saying, bro, Pat, like, I gotta agree with you. Like we're not ready for that, but we are seeing changes where people are starting to step up. Now it might not happen in the next 5 years, but I can probably I'm hoping within the next 30 years we'll see a change. By that time, like 60, I should be good to retire. You feel what I'm saying? And maybe now we can see the kids stepping up to the plate, like fighting
like you get to see.
Right.
basically get to set the scene when Thanos snapped everybody out of existence. He's sitting up there watching the sunset. That's gonna be us. That's
Yeah. I mean,
that's
for
gonna be
me,
us.
I'm looking at it like this, and we got two options. I mean, number one, I love when somebody tells me, if I don't like something, I can leave the country. First of all, I'm a veteran, right? Many of us brothers and sisters then fought for this country, then died for this country.
Facts.
Number two, if I'm not mistaken, we built this motherfucker. I mean, like,
Say it again.
I
Say
mean,
it again.
One more time.
So if we built this motherfucker. I mean, so if anybody got to leave, it ain't
should
us.
be them, right?
And not, let's not even us them. Let's say if anybody got to leave, it's the ones that got a problem with people operating within freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that, because if Mike Dicker doesn't like that NFL players are gonna use their First Amendment, I don't know. Is he a veteran? Did he serve? Did he do anything for that First Amendment to tell somebody else they can't execute it?
Mm-hmm.
Bro, you can leave the country.
Right.
Because
For real.
in my opinion, this country is a free country. Well, it's to a certain extent.
Yeah.
When Trump's sending his police, Trump's sending his police in, you know that, but this is a free country to a certain extent.
Damn it, Pat, man. Like, I'm glad I met you, bro. I like.
I was just about to say.
Pat is the.
Hey, bro, I got to get your
homie.
info, bro.
Hey, good job, Ryan, man. Good job on that, bro.
What did I tell y'all? I got this. I network.
This how you connect.
I got to get
how
your
it
info,
works.
bro.
God damn, man.
I see your name. Yeah, I got to get your info. I was just about to say, let me get bro info, because I got some bros that I got to connect you with, bro. It's for real.
Talk all night. Where you go, man?
Man, my
internet crashed.
No, I'm talking like I was on the whole time though.
It was the FBI. They knew. They're like, cut it. He knows too much. Get him out.
Get him out of there.
Oh,
Get the Hispanic off of there now.
Oh man, I was like, we started talking, and everyone froze, and I was like, oh man, what's going on? Like, look, my internet's still out.
Yeah, that's the feds, bro. They on your ass. They're like, hey, listen, get him out. Don't move in. Get him out. Get him out.
We're not a threat. We're not a threat right now. We just talking, but when they start to make moves, then they'll start to.
And this is
exactly.
Closer. And here's the biggest threat. And this is the thing about the black folk, that us picking up arms is not the biggest threat in America.
No.
Us becoming the politicians, us becoming the businessmen, us becoming the lawyers and the doctors, that's the threat in America.
That's the threat. That is the threat.
Picking up arms, we could never do anything picking up arms as 13% of the population. Let's just keep it 100.
Plus,
we would never.
Nope. We outnumber when it comes to weapons. Definitely.
We outnumber. And that's not even a talk. To me, that's not realistic. Now, don't get me wrong. We do need to pick up arms and be willing to, because you can't let nobody just come to your house and take the stuff. But at the end of the day, what they really fear is what Public Enemy was talking about, the fear of a black planet, where black people and natives and Hispanics and anybody brown, anybody non-white is on top.
Right.
Planet of the Apes.
So to me, what we see in America right now even is because at one point in time, we had a president who is considered the most powerful man in the world that was a black man. And that's why we see a Donald Trump. And that's why we see the revolts that we're seeing in the anger. And that's why we see them trying to push towards a race war, because they're afraid, man, if I got to go to them, like, look how we treated them when we were on top. What if they get on top?
Right.
How they gonna treat us? That's their fear.
Right.
I don't think we gonna like respond back to them the way that they respond to us. Cause like, man, like we are docile people, but like don't push it to the point where we have to.
Don't be like Nick Cannon. Hey, y'all in that Nick Cannon track.
Hey,
the invitation is canceled.
Savages. Y'all are savages.
Straight up. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not us. So even if we was in power like that, like, I mean, like, if you just look around our communities, we hate each other more than we hate them. So I don't think they got nothing to fear from us.
Hey, facts.
Preach.
And that's why they keep us separated. Because like, kind of back to what you're saying, Pat, earlier about the classism and saying, like, you know, you'll look at another, say another black man or another Mexican and be like, oh, he think he's good because he got some money. And we will look at each other and downplay instead of upraise and uplift and be like, man, all right, you made it. What can I do to help you? Oh,
instead of saying, being humble and saying, I'm gonna hire only Mexicans to clean my house because that's all I'm gonna do. But then no, it's stuck with stereotypes and going back to being racial. It's like maybe I don't want to hire Mexicans because I grew up Mexican. I know we have a stereotype of stealing, and I'm like,
Right.
so I'm not gonna hire them, and like I'm gonna look
blacks too. Shit.
Well, yeah, blacks too, and like we get stuck in these stereotypes, and those same stereotypes is like how you said earlier, the white individuals who aren't used to it, like you said, they're afraid. I mean, I can talk about. I'm not gonna say the company that I work with, but
you ain't gonna say it,
when I was talking to him, he expressed it and said he was afraid. He doesn't want to take his guns away because he's like, I'm afraid, and he was bold enough to say black people. And then I looked at him. I'm like, my wife's half black, right? And I'm like, you're making these blanket comments, and I'm like, it's ignorance, and that ignorance breeds fear. And at the same time, it's go back to what we said, the programming. Back to the programming. What are we teaching ourselves in our communities? And if we can start to reprogram some of this stuff, then it just takes conversations like how we are today, like to be able to share and peel back the layers.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't take me having a it shouldn't have to take marching down the street screaming till our throats are dry that Black Lives Matter. It shouldn't have to take me typing up 20,000 words a second on a Facebook post because someone's stupid enough to share something and say all lives matter all the freaking time. Or it shouldn't have to take me the same energy to get up to delete said people that keep saying all lives matter and saying the same shit because I ain't got time to type 20,000 words a second to tell them why they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like it shouldn't have to take all that. All it should take is a simple conversation. But it does though. That's the messed up part because people don't want to listen.
Exactly, because I constantly have to deal with, bro. Like I
know.
I stopped. You see my page.
I know.
I done told people, hey y'all, I ain't got the energy for y'all anymore, man. I got stuff going on in my own personal life that I can't even put energy into. If I post, this and that, all lives matter. Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. And I'd be like, all right, you know what? If all lives matter, y'all would be upset about what's going on at the border. Right. If all lives matter, you know what I'm saying? Then when the
kids wouldn't be in cages.
Yeah, when Tamir Rice was killed, if all lives mattered, everybody all the white people would have been mad.
Right.
All the conservatives that swear up and down that all lives matter, then we would be upset about Mike Brown. We would Philando Castile. Like, bro, I can go for days. And even then, let's keep it 100. They always tell us about black on black crime. First of all, black on black crime is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Man.
Crime is proximity based, right? So when you talk about crime, you commit crime against people who you live around. Matter of fact, whenever there's a murder, who's the first suspect? It's usually the spouse, the boyfriend, somebody close, right? And so why is that? Because 90% of the cases are the spouse, somebody live with them. So when you talk about crime, white people commit crime against white people at a high rate. Asians commit crime against Asians at a high rate. You commit crime against your people in your communities.
Exactly.
So if all lives matter, then y'all would show up to the south side of Chicago when blacks are killed too.
Mm-hmm.
So don't criticize Black Lives Matter because they don't show up, because I used to live out there. People do show up. The news doesn't cover it. So the thing is that I don't ever see all lives matter showing up. So please, all lives matter. And this is for anybody who runs around screaming it. Shut the fuck up.
I think that warrants a mic drop. I think
time out.
That warrants a mic drop.
Hey, straight up though, you tell it just you gotta tell it just like that. Like
you do.
I don't get the concept of how people can even all lives matter when we're talking about situations where we can clearly see that we are being targeted,
yes,
in and out, and it all lives matter. Like that shit pisses me off so much. But like I finally realized, like when you having conversation, people that are ignorant, you never get nowhere. Are you doing
never,
energy,
never.
like you said, in your breath?
So like
you just gotta figure out. It's like chess to me. Like it's just like every move that you make, it has to be your best move. You gotta be willing to risk a little bit to know that you're going to gain something later on. And that's
High
just
risk,
what we
high
have
reward.
to do as a community, the Black and the Browns, and anybody else that want to walk this path. We just got to put our chips together and really make a difference, because at this point, no, we are outgunned. We definitely outgunned.
But we all got to make that choice of standing up.
Yeah,
because what I love about it now is that is everyone up there in Northwest right now? Everyone over there?
No, okay. I'm in Terre Haute, Indiana, bro.
Oh man,
how you? Ooh.
you're Northeast.
I made a move for a job, and
bro. How is it out there?
It's smooth, bro. It's smooth. I ain't gonna stunt. It's smooth.
You be going to that rallies on 41, ain't it?
What's that?
So you go to that rallies on 41, ain't it?
Oh yeah, that's the spot right there, boy. Hey. That rallies, boy. Hey.
I feel like you're at home.
Where you at, Daniel?
I'm outside of Atlanta. I'm in Duluth, Alpharetta, Georgia.
What's going on down there?
Man, so I mean, it's you guys heard of the most recent stuff was they had outside of that Wendy's, that young man was shot while he was messing with the cops with the taser. But so they actually burned it down and tore it down. Yeah, so it's the closer you are in the city, things are a little touchy. But I'm where I drive and where I'm like kind of living. I'm outside on the outside of the cities, and it's a little lighter out here. And the nervousness, right? I see a lot more people carrying. I see a lot more people looking around, and it's just cautious. You know, people are just cautious.
It's a lot of tension.
It really is, because like the place I go into, like I still do a 9 to 5 with engineering consulting, and the place is owned by Germans, right? And what I was saying earlier is that it's very cautious because they come from the other side of Georgia, right? We all know Atlanta, right? You know, the dirty South, and this, you know, it's very culture diverse in Atlanta. And honestly, when it comes to you know, minorities and blacks being the majority, you know, in the Atlanta area, they're very powerful down here. Like, they're organized. Like, when we talk about having these conversations and being educated, man, I haven't seen a community so far that's been as organized and educated as the minority communities here in Atlanta, Georgia.
Really?
Like, they have community centers that everything we're talking about here, they're driving to push. Like, they have what they call the Black House. They just opened up. And
really?
who is it by? I can't remember. I'm having a brain fart. But
so we just need to ask for Georgia, is what you're saying, as our own country.
Well, not Georgia. Not Georgia.
I know Atlanta. I'm saying Atlanta could be our capital. I'm just
Atlanta. No, honestly, Atlanta can't be the capital because all the culture and the like when the riots and when the Wendy's was burnt down, there were more I gotta say peaceful protesting and just unity that was in the communities that didn't allow things to escalate as crazy. Like right now, if you look at Portland or Oregon, what's going on? If you actually watch those videos, and as much as everyone is saying, it's a lot of white people there.
And it's all white people. Portland is like 2% black.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's going crazy, and they're pushing it to the protest, and it's what's hitting the news right now. But like, there was a young man that was shot, and when he was burned down, which the fire was started. If you look at who was fired, it was a white person. But
it was a white person. Yeah,
exactly. It's died down, right? People are here helping each other out. It's not getting out of control. And what I was saying is, like, as much as it, you know, Atlanta's not on the map, right? Chicago's on the map. You know, people are talking about what's going on in Chicago. And that's thing I heard was, like, you know, like you said earlier, black on black crime. I'm like, stop it with that. You're trying to take away from the issue, and going back to, you know, Black Lives Matter, and it's not about taking away from, yes, all lives matter, but it's who's being targeted right now. It's shining a light on the issue, is that what's being targeted. You have to understand that, yes, there's crime. Yes, there is stuff that's going on, but what are the communities that are being targeted? And I hear the negativity from I call it negativity, but I'm gonna just call it as it is, racism talk. And regardless if they're thinking or they know in the ignorance of them knowing that it's racism, I'm more surrounded by it all the time. I just look at them. I'm like, how can you say some of these things? And going back to like what you guys were saying earlier was it comes down to ignorance and programming. And going back down to it, it's because that's what their granddaddy was talking about. Oh, this is what this is. Like, but how can you talk about it if you never lived it? Right. And I'm looking at it and it's like, I know what you make. So I know it's, if anything, we should be on the same level, is because you're making, if not the same amount as I am, or less. And it's like, you should
humble
be
yourself.
On the same page. That's what I'm saying. Like,
humble yourself.
You aren't better than these people who are fighting for their lives.
Right, exactly. And with that, okay, like how you were talking about how it's a lot of unity, which is amazing. It's good to know that that's a thing. Over there in Portland, look, the mayor got tear gas. I don't even know how that happened.
Bro.
I don't even know.
But you want to talk about a problem in this country, bro?
The mayor in Portland, he got tear gassed.
So wait.
But what makes it even funnier though? He was talking about like, look, y'all can't come up in here and running stuff when this my, you know what I'm saying? This my city. My man's was really trying to push him back though. Like,
he was with the people.
Exactly. Like, could you imagine being the mayor? You walk up and look, y'all can't. Oh damn!
Get tear gas in your own city
in your own city.
Federales.
You know how shitty that look, dog. You know how shitty that look.
Let's actually take a second because I know we were supposed to be talking about wealth, but we didn't got in the current.
No, we didn't. So. You know what? We didn't already cover wealth. We moving on.
You gonna have to split these videos up and just put a little disclaimer in there. At this point, we went left field. But bro, think about this. The mayor of a city got tear gas in his own city.
Mm-hmm. And he was white.
Are we not living in a police state? Are we not living in a corrupt? Like, exactly. Bro, the one mayor got hands put on him by police. It was a black mayor. I can't remember where it was, but he got hands put on him. It was a senator. No, it was a statesman. Was in his own district. Yeah. And got hands put on him. But yet, the police only do this when we're not peaceful. Exactly. I was talking to a brother of mine, and my brother John. I ain't gonna say his last name, but he was, he's very political. He was talking about how sometimes these police will come up and they will be the ones to incite the chaos with the stuff that they come in doing. And of course, the right's gonna be like, just obey the law.
Just obey the law and you won't die. It's like
Breonna Taylor sleeping in her bed.
Right. Say it again.
So I mean, let's just keep it real. We are living in a police state, bro. And all the Boogaloo boys running around when they're coming for us, I'm going shut the fuck up. Because where are they at? Chaos and tyranny has been taking place for years, especially if you black.
Exactly.
Tyranny has been here.
Exactly.
We were brought here under tyranny. But now even when you look today, what we're seeing tyranny across the board, and all the Boogaloo boys, all the bootlickers. Well, if you just respected the police, okay, look, I respect police officers, right? I respect them. I ain't got no reason to disrespect no police officer until they show me I got a reason. But if you ain't show me I got a reason, I show you respect. You're just a human being doing a job.
Right.
The problem is that we get into this nationalism and we get into this hyper supporting tyranny because the tyranny that's being done is by the side that we like. Just like if you're on the left. If you're on the left and you think it's okay that they want to take away guns, you are supporting tyranny. Right. Like, let's keep it real. We, as Americans, we need to say, I don't support tyranny no matter who's doing it. Not when my side does tyranny is fine.
Right. It's like, it shouldn't be a matter of my tyranny isn't equal to your tyranny. It should be like, no, tyranny's bad. That's just like saying,
we don't want any of
this person's a lesser pedophile compared to the other. Like, no,
you want to know how cut that argument out? You don't want tell them you take away their guns. Oh, they'll be like, they ain't taking my guns away. They will upride everything else.
Right, exactly. And
I'll tell you what, you ain't taking my guns.
Man, I've seen some of these good old boys around here. You tell them to take away the guns, they'll shoot. They'll shoot a president.
They might up.
Hey, I lost all my guns. I just want to throw this out there since it's on public record. I actually lost all my guns in a boating accident. All of them. So if you're looking for them, I ain't got them. I
Pat,
lost them on a boat accident.
Pat, you stupid dog. You said I lost them in a boat accident.
Oh, it's
Wait,
hidden treasure,
first,
huh?
Yeah,
why-
no. I mean, you
first
can
of
go
all,
if you want it. Go. You gotta
I'm
go
sending
find it at
Jack
the bottom of
Sparrow on
the
the job to
ocean.
find that.
Yeah, it's in the ocean. I mean, because when I sail, I'm afraid of sharks. So when I sail, I like to have all my guns with me. I got into a boat accident, and all my guns are now at the bottom of the
safe
ocean.
and everything, huh?
I bring the safe and everything, bro, because I'm like, I got to keep it safe
Pat,
if the sailor come up, so I don't have my guns just in case Joe Biden
why you
starts
take?
president.
Wait.
Hey Ryan, just cut some of the stuff out and you
No,
keep it in
leave
the archive.
that in there because I need that on public record. That I don't have any guns.
I'm dead. I was just trying to figure out why you gonna bring a safe with guns on the water. I can see if you were like afraid of pirates because that's a thing. This man said sharks. Goodbye.
Sharks,
Goodbye. You gonna shoot? So you gonna shoot
I rock with that. I ain't fucking with no sharks neither.
Hey,
First of all, I'm not getting in the water. I can't swim. You see these people dying. Naya Rivera got arrested. So Naya Rivera out there swimming in the water, saving her son. Nah, I'm not getting in no water. I can't swim either way. Nah, that's dead. And I'd be dead, literally. No.
There's just a lot of water. I just ain't
So
trying
that
to.
the government doesn't come in here and shut us down, we can put this back to wealth. So slavery is poverty, right? Today, right?
Poverty.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's true though.
Poverty is that mindset.
It's true though.
Yeah.
You're right, because you know what? If you do, no, you're right. Poverty is a choice.
It is.
Poverty,
You can be broke,
but
or you cannot be broke.
but for as
What happened to your? I can't hear. You can't hear?
I'm out of poverty by working hard.
Oh, the feds.
The feds set you up.
He must have had a good point.
Yeah, my phone cut out. Look. What I was saying was poverty. You're not gonna get out of poverty by working hard. Right. And a lot of people like to kind of throw it out. Just pull yourself up by your bootstrap, and it's like, first of all, number one, y'all gave us boots without straps. Number two,
facts.
Having these boots on and working hard ain't gonna get me out of poverty. What it's gonna do is it's gonna give me money so I can pay my bills, but it doesn't necessarily get me out of poverty. Knowing what to do with that money, though, I can rise out of poverty. So the knowledge is what's actually going to bring us out of poverty, not necessarily just having money. Because I know some very poor people who make very good money, and I know some very poor people who made millions at one point and just didn't know what to do with the millions. So they had a poverty mindset with millions of dollars, and guess what? They spent it all.
Right.
That's why we got to hit the educational system too, bro.
Great book to read, The Millionaire Mindset.
Yeah.
Right.
I really feel like it got to start in the schools, man. Like, cause if we start to breed our kids with the knowledge that they need to have, some of the stuff that we missed or some of the stuff that we're finding out now, we put that into them. Like the communities will change as they grow up. We might not see that change, but at least our kids will, and their kids will, if we start to sow that seed now. So like, it really got to go into the education system because the poverty is in urban neighborhoods. And like, this is what I'm doing now because I see that issue and I was a product of that. So, knowing that now this is how you can do it. Damn, you know what? These kids got to know. I got to tell them. This is exciting news. I can put some money in your pocket and I can show you how to make it work for yourself. And you can bring your family up. You can put them on game. Y'all can create a business. Y'all can do all type of shit. But somebody just got to teach them this. That's it.
Exactly. And that goes for not just poverty, but that also should go for like what is it? Stuff outside of surviving, like how to pay bills, how to like car notes, mortgage, life skills, stuff like that. Because like when I was in school and I was in high school, I had that shit. I'm still trying to figure out to this day, where the hell am I going to apply this damn Pythagorean theorem? I can barely remember that shit as it is. I don't use it.
I had a class that showed me how to balance a checkbook, but I'm like, I haven't touched a checkbook since then. I mean, like,
exactly. Exactly. Like, they just throw it out there. It's like, here. Yeah. But I guess, to that avail, they probably didn't know the technology was going to take off the way that it did now. So they're just like, here's it just in case. And then now it's like, oh, I'm never going to.
Hey, I'm still looking. I'm still looking for my teacher that told me I won't always have a calculator in my pocket.
That's what I'm saying, right?
When I catch her, I'm gonna show her this phone. I'm gonna be like, look, teacher, you said I wasn't always gonna have a calculator, and I do.
I flip it sideways and it gives me sine, cosine, and tangent too.
Oh,
Right.
You owe me an A, teacher.
I forgot about that.
Don't bring that back up, because that was the last class I needed to graduate out of Purdue, and I fucking hated it. Oh God!
Damn.
Oh, that was horrifying.
Education is important, man. Really,
It is.
That's how
It
bad
is. It
education
really
is.
is.
It's outdated. It's so outdated.
It is.
Yeah,
And
our education system is behind.
Yeah,
it is.
Like,
way too
I don't know,
far
Pat. You remember when we had that class with it was that Middle Eastern teacher. He was new at the time, and he said that over there in the Midwest, in the or Middle East, in Europe, they're laughing at us.
Yeah,
At the type of stuff in college. Like they think that what we're being taught in college is like high school level stuff for some of these Middle Easterns. And
oh yeah,
and when they do the call centers, there's in India there's a saying. I forget who was telling me about it. They call it 1035 or something like that. And they said if they have an American who's who is 35 or older, that they treat them as if they have a mindset or like an understanding of a 10-year-old. So they'll talk very slow. They'll be very like dumbing down.
Well, that's too because they call over there and because they have Americans. We're so dang on. I mean, I'm sure it's because a lot of us are just idiots. I mean, that's the thing in America. But I think the other aspect of it, we're so arrogant that we talk to somebody with an accent, and I hear when I talk to people, I won't say what group of people does this to me because I don't want to be racial. But there's a group of people that when you talk to them, they make this smug face and they kind of like do the twisting of the face because they're trying to digest what you're saying, but because you speak like a person of color, they can't understand you well. So you have to kind of change your voice like this and do all that bull.
you gotta put the white voice on. Put the white voice on.
It's arrogance. It's because it's arrogance, and so I see how people talk to people on the call centers when a specific group talks to people on the call centers, and they're like, "Oh, a dang Indian answered the phone, and now I can't understand them." Like, dude, they can't understand you. You the one can't articulate your words and using all type of good old boy. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. But it's just an arrogance, bro.
It is, and
I mean, and there are a lot of idiots. I think that's the other aspect of it.
Look at our president, nah.
Hey, our president is he did you see he's a very fine individual.
He has multiple businesses, and I do not want the tax IRS to be looking into my stuff. So
yeah, I'm about to say he's a very fine individual. All right.
He understands.
That's the best I can do.
I like oranges, man. I like oranges.
Yeah, that's the best I can do, man. I think he got a caterpillar on his head. I mean, in a good way.
It's growing.
Yeah, rocked it well.
It's a hairy face hugger. It's a hairy face hugger from Alien.
He does the best he can.
That's right. I ain't even gonna say nothing. I'm gonna leave it alone.
Fuck him. That's what I can say it. Man, guess what? I'm done. Nope.
Right, I'm gonna need you to send me an edited copy before you send this out.
Right.
Yeah, and take that bullshit out.
No,
Donald Trump, with his little tiny hands, he gonna be like, I'm gonna watch this little. Oh, who is this Ryan?
He's gonna be he's gonna be tweeting. He's be like, and now for me to check on YouTube. Who is this black African? Who is this black person disrespecting me? Melania. Matter of fact, Putin, I'd like to get him shut down effective immediately, which will help me out even more because you spent your resources to shut me down. So I'm making another one, and I'm put it back up with all the other content that I missed out on, and say, hey, guess what, guys? Donald Trump shut me down. And then
you can't talk. You can't talk about Donald Trump. Nah, that's hold on. Let me he is the president of the United States of America.
Do you want to put?
I am a law-abiding citizen.
I'm a law-abiding citizen who lost all his guns.
You want that with or without the gun pointed to your head? Because I can point. I can edit that. Like he has a law.
I'm just speaking from the heart.
I'm sorry, I am not from this country. I just happen to get on this call. I am from Nigeria. I do not know these black people. I do not know them. I'm sorry.
Hey, I'll do you one better. No habla inglés.
Y'all, I tell you took mine.
Right.
Oh god.
Give it back to him, man.
Yeah, give it back, man. Booyaka, baka.
Oh man, there you go.
Mama say, Mama sa, Mama sa.
Oh, y'all stupid. Oh man. All right. Well, on that note, Daniel, I know you have to leave. So
Yeah, how about you guys?
Do we?
It was a pleasure, though.
Yeah.
Indeed.
If anything, like we said, I think that's probably a good time for us to cut it here. If anything, if we have any more questions, if you all have any more questions for Sir Daniel or Sir Pat, the group chat is always available and always on. To any of y'all viewers out there that have any questions in regards to generational wealth or just racial matters in general on how tough it is to be black in America, please feel free to leave a comment, a like, and hit that subscribe button and that bell notification if you want to. This has been the Black Lives Matter podcast, and we're gone.
Wakanda forever!
Hey, Bombay!